Good evening and welcome everyone to the Women's Super-Liga, the first game of 2026. Obviously the season has continued on from the summer season that ended in 2025, but it's great to be back here. We have a huge clash between the Cockburn Wolves taking on Perth United Futsal Club. Cockburn Wolves currently sitting on top of the ladder comfortably by 6 points, clear of second, while Perth United come into this game sixth on the ladder and look to make a push. They're not too far off that top four, and a win here tonight, an upset win that would be, can get them within 3 points of fourth placed South Perth. So both teams will look to get a strong start here tonight as we go through the team lineups for both clubs. Perth United are lining up with Emma Elias in number 8, Chloe McGlynn 9, Samantha Ellen Quizanara number 10, Maria Malero number 12, Claudia Hocking 6, Gina Camila Jimenez at number 3, Jessie Marlim 15, Nas Abbas at number 7, and Rachel Wilson number 16, rounding out Perth United's lineup for the evening. As the Cockburn Wolves, Campos is on the ball now. Their lineup for tonight is Brooke Burdett number 3, Tina Campos number 23, Amalia Caceres number 1, Alyssa Van Hoek number 8, Mariana Tabane 10, Samantha Brady 5, and here's a big chance for the Wolves. Can't finish. Samantha Brady 5, Kate McAuliffe 2, Dakota Van Voogd number 3, Theodora Matthias 12. There's another chance for the Wolves, and an early goal should be coming. It's not quite. Almost getting on to the end of it there with McAuliffe. And Caitlin Mohan, number 11, another big chance there. That'll come off Campos last. Isabella Wainwright, number 44. Judy Connolly at number 7, and Isabella Flanagan, number 21. And that rounds out both sides for the evening. So it's pretty exciting to see what both clubs have worked on over the Christmas break. As that ball goes into touch and Tabane will take, bringing it in from the sideline, goes to Campos. That chance is going to almost be lost, kept in well on that far flank, but taken care of pretty comfortably in goals for United as they now look to build. And that one's going to sail past everyone. Going to be brought back into play by the Wolves. And the Cockburn Wolves, I believe the last time they played, they went down in a really tight tussle. And that's unlike them, so they'll look to bounce back. I think there was Cambio Cumbre who managed to get the better of them in that last game. There's United, big shot, blocked by Campos though. Nice attempt there by Hocking, and that's what United want to do coming into this game as the underdogs. They really want to test the Wolves early. There's a nice couple opportunities there, but the Wolves will now reset and try to build a play here as McAuliffe has Tabane to her right, uses Tabane. She keeps it in dangerously though, turns it over. Here's a chance. McGlynn can get a shot off, but not enough on it. But nice defensive effort by McGlynn, stopping Campos from getting to it. Hocking defensive there, and that ball just goes wide right. And it'll be brought back in from goals by Rachel Wilson. Wilson to Nara, and Nara has shown a lot of speed this season. But that's a turnover, and here's a chance for the first of the evening. Missed, chance, keepers out of goals. And somehow, some way, Perth United survive. Well done defensively in the end, managing to avoid that goal. And it will be their ball. So here is Nara. She'll go back. I'll keep it in now, but now McGlynn can't find Nara on the follow-up, and it'll be brought back in by the Wolves from touch by Kate McAuliffe. McAuliffe goes to Tabane, Tabane to Campos. Back to Tabane. The ball almost gets through, in fact it did. But last came off Nara. Now Campos. In fact it'll go straight past her, Tabane. Tabane to McAuliffe. McAuliffe tries to get to the back post, can't get it through. And well done in goals, and they'll take their time, they'll steady, and here's Nara wearing the captain's armband this evening. And that ball will end up in goals for the Cockburn Wolves. And they'll take care of that one pretty easily and now look to steadily build back into play. Here's Campos. Campos to Tabane. She'll cut it across the middle. Nara putting good pressure on. She does that very well. McAuliffe cuts to her left. Now goes all the way back. Here's a chance for the Wolves. Nara there defensively. Did well Van Hurek, but in the end loses it. Chance now on the counter for McGlynn. McGlynn, nice hesitation. But the shot didn't have enough on it and it was wide. And the Wolves will look to build again. Substitution made for them with a Brooke Burdett coming on. And that's a great ball by Burdett, finding Campos through, chance, and just not the touch she was after. Alyssa Van Hurek just needed a better touch there because it was a big chance. Probably needed to go first time on the shot. Here's a chance now on the counter though after the turnover. Tabane, out to Van Hurek. Tabane again, loses it. Nara, McGlynn. And that probably needed to go to Nara on that far flank. She was out in acres of space. That one doesn't stay in. And it will be United ball. In fact, it will be a Cockburn Wolves possession. Here is Campos. Leaves it for Tabane. Tabane to Burdett. Burdett saw Campos, but instead goes to the target. Chance. Van Hooyk. It ends up with Campos. Now Burdett. Campos. Here's a turnover. McGlynn and United have been so strong defensively so far here tonight. They've come into 2026 looking to make an early impact, and all credit goes to their start so far. The substitution is made there with Jimenez coming on. And here's Nara. Nara through, but doesn't quite get it past Burdett. In fact, it was Tabane. United with another shot there, but that's wide. But Hocking has had a few shots here tonight, early in this game. And they'll be very pleased to see that. If you're in the Perth United camp, that's a nice bit of footwork. This should be finished. And Burdett just needed to get anything on that. And the open net was there for the taking. But once again, United survive. And the high press implemented now by the Wolves, putting all sorts of pressure on United. But now they're through, almost. Nice bit of work defensively on that last line of defence. Nara wins it. Nice little ball to Hocking. Hocking go all the way back, and she will. This ball just wide for Nara. But in a game where you definitely would favour the Cockburn Wolves lineup, Perth United have come out and they come out strong. Burdett, nice ball across the face, but the pressure is there by United. They're putting manic pressure on the Wolves. And really the pressure is keeping them in this game. Despite the fact the Wolves, to be fair, they have had a few opportunities which probably should have been finished, but weren't, and they should get a chance now, and they will. There's that ball is left, and will be brought back in from touch by Mariana Tabane. Now Burdett. Tabane will receive again. She'll cut to her right, ends up in the possession of Van Hooyk. Van Hooyk goes back now to Samantha Brady. Van Hooyk, Burdett, doesn't get it through, but they'll reset. No issues there for the Wolves. They'll happily build again. Here goes Burdett on the far flank. Finds her target out wide. Brady, nice spin. Keeps it in. Now Burdett. All the way back, and now Van Vook is on for the first time tonight. Chance, and there's the goal. It had been a long time coming. They had had a lot of opportunities, and finally it's put away by the Wolves, and that is the lead. And Dakota Van Vook coming on and having an immediate impact with that assist, finding Tabane with the great finish at that back post. Now United will look for the immediate reply. It's obviously going to be quite tough to do against such a formidable opponent. And you can see they're already under a whole lot of pressure. They'll keep possession though. And that is Ma Lim now on, bringing it in from touch for United. Maria Malero also on for Perth United, as that one goes all the way into touch. And it will be a United possession, is it? It is. Here's Ma Lim. That might find Ma Lim here on that nice little ball, but just out of the reach, but not a bad effort. Now the Wolves will regain possession. And that's a nice long ball, Van Voot onto it, but the touch not there. Fights hard though, but it ends up in the possession of Jimenez. Jimenez now goes long. It's going to be a tight 50-50 contest, won by Brady. Van Voot, great ball, finds Brady, who controls it well. Can she get a shot off? No, she'll reset. And here's Burdett. They'll take their time. Burdett again, and that ball was always going to be tough to make on that first touch. And it couldn't quite get it to Samantha Brady in the corner. Here's a chance. Brady almost turned her opponent, but decided to go all the way back, and there's the finish. Burdett puts it into the top left, and what a finish it was. 2-0 is the lead for the Cockburn Wolves. And a well-earned break for Brooke Burdett, and you'll see on that replay, just chipped it straight over the keeper. And United have some work to do now. Here you go, United trying to reset, but on this occasion they can't keep it in, and it's going to be a Wolves possession for Van Voot. And now they build again. Brady. Van Voot tries to cut it past the defender, can't. But no worries for the Wolves. They'll keep possession. It was well done. And there's McAuliffe going well, going all the way back. McAuliffe again. Has a defender to beat. Decides in the end to retreat. Van Voot, can she cut it through to McAuliffe? Decides against it. Goes back. McAuliffe will get it now. And she will reset again, and strong defensive pressure applied so far on this possession by United. 11 minutes to go in this first half. 2-0 is the lead. Here's Brady, Van Voot. Here's a tight bit of pressure, but well done. Big shot there. Saved well though off the boot of McAuliffe. And that was well done in goals by Wilson. This ball goes long. And nicely cleared by Van Voot. Lero brought it back into play there and decided to reset. It ends up with Hocking. This is dangerous. They're under a bit of pressure here. Are United. That ball does get to Malero, who it did, but just a bit too late. The Wolves will regain. Van Voot gets it again and again. Nice little 1-2, but the control just at that last moment betrayed her. But the Cockburn Wolves off to a strong start here tonight. It's great to have Supa-Liga action back. It's been about 4 or 5 weeks since we last saw action. There's Campos, but can't get enough on it. But 2 games here tonight, with obviously this one being the opener, and then Phoenix Futsal in the men's Supa-Liga closing out the night, coming up against South Perth Alliance. So it is very great to have futsal back here in WA. We are live from Subiaco. Here's a chance. McAuliffe, chance for Campos, and hammers it. No keeper would have got to that. Bottom right, and she pounced onto it. 3-0 the lead for the Cockburn Wolves, as we'll see that replay just in a moment. And the ball was bobbling around, and it was Campos who just came flying in, puts it away on the right. And that is now the lead, extending to 3 goals for the Cockburn Wolves. The last time these 2 teams came up against each other, it was the Cockburn Wolves getting the 3 points. And it was quite convincing. And With the way that this game is heading, it is looking like a similar result, unless Perth United can turn things around. And anything can happen in futsal. But especially against a team like this Cockburn Wolves lineup, it is going to be difficult. But there have definitely been some positives so far from Perth United. They've been strong in some defensive aspects of the game. But it's just been that crucial last touch that they haven't been able to stop at times, and that's led to the 3-goal lead. And in comparison to last game, last time these two teams did play, it was 9-1. So 3-0 probably isn't the worst start for a young team which is growing in Perth United. It looks like we're just about to get back underway here in Supa-Liga. And we are back in play now. Here's McAuliffe. Should go back to Corley. And that will just be cleared by Malero. Corley. McAuliffe. Back to Corley. McAuliffe again, and they combine a few times. It looks like that almost gets through there to Corley. In fact, that was McAuliffe combining a few times earlier. Here is Nara. Might have turned it over. Campos pounces onto it. Cleared. Will end up in the possession of Tabane. That ball, in fact, it was Van Hoek, and it's going to end up being last off of Van Hoek, and it'll be a United possession just over halfway through this game. And they really would love a goal here, United, just to steady the tide, because the momentum is with the Wolves. He'll be brought back in here. A chance for McGlynn. There's a shot. Not far off. Just wide and slightly high. As the Wolves bring it back into play. Burdett, in fact, it's Corley. That's a turnover. McGlynn gets a boot in there, and if she could have just got a slightly lighter touch, she might have been able to pounce, but well done defensively, nevertheless. Here's Corley. Finds Campos. Campos now has room to run, but Nara gets there defensively. And here go the Wolves. Van Hoek cuts it. Tried to cut it in, but McGlynn again, strong defensively, getting the tackle in. Corley. Van Hoek. That ball gets through to Campos. Can't get it through to her intended target on the far flank, or in fact this corner. But here's a chance. United, can they get their first? Back heel almost from Nara, but not enough on it. Big opportunity goes begging. That ball doesn't get through. Corley there, strong defensively. And on comes Mariana Tabane for the Cockburn Wolves. Here is Nara. Gets that one through nicely to Malero. Here's Nara from the ball of McGlynn. Nara now, back to McGlynn. McGlynn uses Nara again. And she tries to squeeze that through, but can't get it through. McAuliffe there, strong defensively. Run attempted there by Tabane, ends up losing it, but won't lose possession. Tabane will get another chance here. She might go back, she does to Van Hoek. Van Hoek all the way back now to Burdett. Burdett to Van Hoek. That ball's turned over, tried to find Campos there, but Campos will win possession back for the Wolves. Now Burdett gets it to her target. Can they beat can she beat the defender here on the far flank? And Van Hoek, she did well. She'll reset though. Burdett, Campos. Campos to Van Hoek, turns the defender. Malero, chance, and no one at the back post. Just behind in the end Tabane was the closest Wolves player. So now United, let's see if they can build something here. It doesn't look like it. Campos will let that go straight past her and she'll bring it back into play for the Wolves. Campos. Tabane. Campos again. She'll go to Tabane again. And playing quite a low defense at the moment. United not putting a whole lot of pressure on it. It's giving time and space for the Wolves. But they do well to clear that. It's going to end up back in goals. And the Wolves will look to build again. And now you can see the defence coming just a bit higher for Perth United. Here's Tabane. Can she get that through ball through? Almost. Chance now. Van Hoek. Campos. She keeps it, beats McGlynn. McGlynn gets back there though and did well on defence. And it'll be Campos once again from the sideline. She'll use Burdett. Burdett tries to squeeze that through, but can't quite. Narrow there. Getting a last line of defence boot in. Van Hoek will receive it back. And maybe even again, controls that brilliantly. Narrow does well defensively. Chance though, Burdett. Big save. Another chance on the follow-up. And once again, United hold up. And that was Campos on that follow-up attempt. Not quite squeezing it through. But the corner will be taken by Burdett. Here is Campos, has Narrow to beat. Instead tries to squeeze it through. Can't get it through to Burdett. And cleared away by United. And they've been doing a lot of defending in this match. On comes Brady for the Wolves. Now Campos, can she get that through? She does! Burdett puts it away. And the Wolves take a 4-goal lead. And trouble now for United. It now starts to become about just focusing on that next goal and trying to get some little wins out of this game, because the 3 points does seem a long way away. And that's another turnover, Campos. Burdett. Tabane gets it through to Campos, tries to beat the defence, and held up very well there in the end. Did Emma Elias. McGlynn, can she get that through? Almost, but can't quite. Tabane, Campos. Through to Tabane again. Now she'll reset all the way back to Burdett, who will move it through the middle to Brady. Brady now. Tabane to Campos, and Campos thought that she had Mariana Tabane taking the run on, but she wasn't there to receive. Just a bit of a miscommunication. Here you go, United again. Elias, McGlynn, and she'll turn it over. No one there. And McGlynn seemingly asking of her teammates, why is there no one making the run? Creating an attacking option. Now Brady. Brady through to Van Voogd. She'll get that through. Here's Burdett. Now Tabane. Through to Brady. Burdett though onto it. She'll lose it. And now a chance on the counter. It's a 1-on-2 though. Can she keep it here? She does very well. Can she finish? No. But a great effort there by Claudia Hocking. Not just able to finish though. But coming up against two Wolves defenders. Fought valiantly. Tabane through. But Nara there stopping the ball from reaching Brady. You see on that replay, it was a great effort by Hocking. Elias gets it back. Hocking now. Elias. She can take off. She's got acres of space. Can she get a shot off? Nice little move, but just too heavy on the touch. But a great effort nonetheless. Burdett. Van Voogd goes all the way. End up with Brady. Brady to her right, uses Van Voogd. Can she keep it in? She can. Brady through the middle. Now it's Tabane. Van Voot. Brady. Back to Van Voot. Not quite. It looks like it will be a United ball. It's a long one, but no one down the line. Just under 4 minutes remaining here in this first half of the opening game of the night. 4-0 is the current lead for the Wolves, but they don't look like they are content with the 4 goals, and would not surprise me to see a few more put on. Did mention 9-1 was the result last time these two teams came up against each other, and at this rate it is heading to be something similar, but United will look to not let that happen, and they do have a chance now, but that doesn't stay in. Few subs made for the Wolves. McAuliffe comes on, as does Corley. Brady can't get that through. Nice defence there by Jimenez.
Keep coming, please. Keep coming. More. Keep coming.
And this will be brought back in around mid-court from touch. Corley goes back to Van Voot. Now Corley again. Thought about going long, decided against it, and she'll now use McAuliffe. This is a nice bit of play, controlling possession as they have for most of this game, the Cockburn Wolves. Corley through to Van Voot, and that one didn't stay in. Whole ball just couldn't quite stay in the court of play.
Let's get it back, Els.
Now that's long, but no one there to receive. And now for Perth United, Nas Abbas comes on. See if she can make an impact. As Samantha Brady. She goes to Corley. Corley, nice little ball, finding McAuliffe. Corley again. Tries to get that through to McAuliffe. Does, and that should be finished, and just not the accuracy. But a great ball there through by Georgia Corley. In the end, just not finding the back of the net. There's Abbas getting involved. And the free kick will be called, and it will be a United possession with just 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half. It's a long ball. Abbas there, doesn't get to her. Van Voot got the foot in. McAuliffe now. Corley, and once again, Georgia Corley with a brilliant ball, but just not finished. But the Wolves are asking the question of United on pretty much most of their offensive possessions. Now Abbas, and that ball just off the outside of their boot. Van Voot. Corley. Van Voot again. Trying to find a way through. Does again, Corley. And McAuliffe with a big shot, but just saved. Well done in goals there by Rachel Wilson. Georgia Corley's facilitating, distributing has been great, especially over these last 2 or 3 minutes. There's Van Voot and Abbas getting a block in. Van Voot again bringing it in from the sideline. Corley, high ball, and Wilson just taps that away. And now it'll be cleared. Here is Corley. McAuliffe takes her time, goes back to Corley. Uses Van Voot, beats Abbas. Has one more defender to beat, and in the end, held up very, very strongly defensively, did Claudia Hocking. She's been one of the better players here tonight for Perth United. Chance for the Wolves, and Hocking once again, as I mentioned, just clears that one away.
Next one, Dakota.
Here is Tina Campos. Van Book, just a minute and a half remaining in this first half of play. Campos will finish. Almost, but brilliant again in goal by Rachel Wilson. Thought she would finish, but in the end put it straight into the legs of Wilson. Here's another chance, and that one's blocked. But they'd find themselves very happy going into the halftime break, would the Cockburn Wolves, but a few goals probably just left on the table, and Campos went for an unbelievable finish, but went straight under it. But they've definitely left a few goals on the table. They could be up by a lot more, and we'll get the stats up at the half. McAuliffe, that doesn't get through, but we will get the stats up at half time, and if I'm guessing now, I do believe it would be highly in favour of the Cockburn Wolves in the possession game, in the passing game, as well as in the shot counts. This will now be brought back in by the Wolves from the sideline. Here is Tabane. I'll just take their time with 60 seconds remaining in the half. Campos, she'll use the outlet to her left. Wolves look to build. Here's a chance, Van Hoek. They'll keep it in the end. No foul called. Tabane, back to Van Hoek. We'll go back to Tabane. Now Campos should receive. She does. Beats Tabas. Chance. Doesn't get through, and that should be finished almost. Once again, Wilson in goals. Abbas was also strong defensively earlier. Chance. Beats 3 defenders, almost. Still a chance, and there's the finish. And it bobbled around a bit, but Alyssa Van Hoek made sure that 5 goals was going to happen in this first half. And it was cleared on the goal line just for a moment, but finally finished. And 5 goals is the lead for the Wolves, just with 18 seconds remaining in this first stanza here at Subiaco. And can they hold on, United, and not let the damage get worse over this next, really now 11 seconds of play? I'll get a chance here, the Wolves. Will they try and put another one past Wilson, or will they just steady the ship and be happy to go in with a 5-goal lead at the half? And it looks like they're not gonna rush. That might be the score at the half. I think it is. And after this first half of futsal, ladies and gentlemen, 5-0 is the lead for the Cockburn Wolves. Don't go anywhere. In just a few minutes, we will be back with a big second half to come. And welcome back for the second half here in this matchup between Perth United and the Cockburn Wolves. If you missed the first half, 5 goals is the lead for the Wolves. And with 20 minutes to play, it would want to be one of the great miracles if United did manage to come back against this lineup for the Cockburn Wolves. At the moment, the Wolves look far too strong, and they've controlled, as you would have seen in the stats at the half, they've controlled most of the game, as they have in this little first play, and Brady almost cleared by McGlynn. It's going to end up back with Brady. Brady, back to Tabane, Burdett, has Tabane, back to Burdett, and she'll cut it past McGlynn, or in fact behind the halfway line. Burdett has had a ton of possession so far in this half, and that one was not her finest, couldn't find Tabane, just out of her reach. Now Jimenez, McGlynn. Jimenez got a touch on that, but got it through in the end. Tabane, Nara, McGlynn, cuts it to her left. In fact, goes through the middle now. Jimenez tried the back heel, no one there, and Campos will reset. Here's Brady. Brady cuts through the middle. Can she get a shot off? She does, but nice defense there by Malero. Chance and finished, almost, somehow. Right into that open net was Burdett. But they'll survive that. Perth United. It was Campos trying to find Burdett, and she did. And somehow Burdett will be wondering how she didn't put that away. Here is Nara, and that ball is going to go out into touch. Here is Campos. Tabane, back to Campos. Burdett. Burdett goes out wide. And they're taking their time here are the Wolves. Burdett tries to cut it in board, but nice defence. Jimenez did very well defensively there, getting that block in. There's now Burdett with the corner. She goes to Brady. Brady, nice little move. Ends up back with Burdett, who loses it. Nice step over. And that ball goes out into touch. Here you go, United. That's a good ball into the middle, but it's dangerous. Narrow now, she's got speed, she's got all sorts of space, she'll cut it back. Can she get a shot off? No. And the Wolves got back defensively, but Narrow's still there. He loses it. But she'll keep possession. In the end, last off of Burdett. And here's McGlynn. McGlynn looks to build, finds Nara. Nice bit of footwork. And just too heavy on the touch. Big chance. And that ball goes all the way back. McGlynn gets there before Brady, but the Wolves will take possession. And United will be happy with this start to the half. Similar to the first half, they've come out with energy. Here is Campos. Uses Burdett. Narrow does well defensively. Almost receives it on the counter there, but didn't quite get through. Now Campos. Tabane, and they'll slow things down. Turns it over here though, Tabane. Campos wasn't on the same page. McGlynn will receive it back from Nara. McGlynn here, can she get a shot off? She can, but straight to the keeper. Just needed to have a bit more behind that, and it could have been the first goal of the evening for Perth United. Here is Burdett. Burdett to Tabane, who leaves it for Campos. Campos thinks about the shot, feints, gives it to Burdett. Brady, Burdett, Campos, turns it over again, which is unusual for her. That's a nice move there by Malero, who almost gets it back from Nara. Campos now on the counter. She'll just have a shot, and the block made by Jimenez. Pretty frantic first 3 and a bit minutes of play. Shot there by Tabane, block made though, and it'll be another corner for Samantha Brady. That one doesn't get through, but the Wolves will maintain possession. And a win here tonight for the Cockburn Wolves would give them a 9-point buffer on the top of the ladder, and they're going to be very, very hard to take out of that top spot with half a season to go. Burdett. She goes back, and that will end up going out to touch off of the Perth United defence. There's Tabane, brilliant ball through. Burdett gets it through as well, but McGlynn defensively clears it, and 2 over the head kicks, clearing it defensively for United, but still under pressure. Nara just putting all sorts of pressure on, and now on the counter, just got to keep going. Beats Burdett, still going Nara. Cuts it to her right, now her left, chance! And that would have been some sort of a goal. Maria Malero, just off the outside of the boot. What a brilliant bit of play there by Nara. And that's cleared by Malero, and it'll be a corner for Brady. And now the Wolves with another chance. Tabane, back to Burdett, back to Tabane. And United holding up here defensively, but will a hole open up? That gets through to Tabane with a shot, block made, and now cleared by Marlim.
Watch the gates, please.
A few substitutions made by the Cockburn Wolves, who now have possession.
Thank you.
Tabane to McAuliffe. Van Voogd. Oh, and the right idea there, trying to find McAuliffe, but just out of the reach.
Yeah, play from there,
Just to her left, to her right, in fact. Now McGlynn. And they're under a bit of pressure, and she had Nara wide open then, but a bit of perceived pressure there with McAuliffe slowly approaching. In fact, quite quickly approaching. So now Van Voogd will bring it in from the sideline. And the Wolves, 5 goals is the lead. Obviously, they won't be concerned at all about the state of the game in regards to whether or not the 3 points will be theirs. Save made. That goes into touch, but they would likely consider themselves having got the 3 points already locked up. Now it's more so just about piling on the damage and helping that goal difference ever more. Here is Malero, goes out to McGlynn. Can she get it through? She does. And almost Marlim just couldn't quite get to it, but it will be their ball. Here's a chance for McGlynn, and that ball's high. But United have had a lot of the play in this first 5 and a bit minutes of the second half. It's now up to them to try to continue that form throughout the remainder of the game and not get tired, because the Cockburn Wolves will not stop trying to pile on the goals. But McGlynn here will take possession. McGlynn to Marlim, back to McGlynn. McGlynn ends up beating Van Voogd. Tries to get it through. In fact, she tries to beat her defender, which she did. But that's going to be out of the reach of Marlim. And here go the Wolves again. On comes Corley. And Van Voogd finds McAuliffe. Nice turn there by Tabane. Through. Van Hoek, in fact, it was. It's on the counter, go United, but it's going to end up in goals for the Wolves. Long ball for Corley. Controls it great. But that ball, no one is on the end of it, and it will be taken in goals by Wilson. Wilson to Marlim. Now Nara. Malero. Malero tries to take it past McAuliffe. Does well to keep it behind her. Nara through the legs of McGlynn. Chance for United. A save made. But United, they were talking at the halftime break about the fact that early in this first half, they were putting all sorts of pressure on the Wolves, and the Wolves were struggling, and that is correct. They did take a while to finally break away, did the Cockburn Wolves. But coming into this second half, they've done quite similar, United, and come out strong. And that's brilliant by McAuliffe. Beats Marlim, gets a shot off, but McGlynn gets there defensively. And it'll be brought in from the sideline
Side, yeah, thank you.
by McAuliffe. She has Corley, and it will end up with her. Doesn't get through, and that will be cleared. Intended target there by Corley was Van Hoyk, but it'll end up being brought in by Van Vugt. High ball, McAuliffe there, last off of Marlim and clearing. Corley, Van Vugt. Turns it over. Now Nara gets it through. Chance for Marlim. Just a heavy touch and goes down. And that'll be last off of her, and the Wolves will take. Van Vugt. She'll give it to Corley. McAuliffe. Van Hoyk back to McAuliffe. Tries to beat the defence, can't. And well done there on that far flank by Jessie Marlim. Winning possession for her United team, and they're holding out strongly defensively. Just as I say that, they turn it over. Chance. But they managed to thwart that opportunity away. And now, that's a good ball. Nara has one to beat and can't. That was Van Hoyk doing well on the defence. Nara to McGlynn. McGlynn can't get it through. Ends up there with Marlim. Chance, save made. That's a long ball down the line and managed to stay in. Ends up with Wilson though. McGlynn now on the counter. She can go, but no one there. And the Wolves will take. Campos now on for the Wolves. Long ball. Tries to find Campos, and it does, but just wide. What a ball by Corley, and she's done about 4 or 5 of those. Neither of them have been finished. But her distributing in this game has been of the highest class. Here is Corley. As the Wolves look to build again, Corley will take here. Will they look to move it forward or go all the way back? They will go back. Now out wide. That ball's out of the reach of Corley. Now a chance on the counter. Here goes Hocking. Beats about 3 defenders, but now loses it. Corley on the counter. Can't get it through to Campos. Elias there. Now McGlynn. Nara. Hocking has an option. Might decide to shoot it herself. Just took too long to get that shot off and ended up losing it. But McGlynn finds Hocking again. Hocking pounces onto it. Can she get a shot off? Nara. Keeping it in is Jimenez. Nara tried to get it back to Jimenez, and nice defence there by Corley. Here's Jimenez. Hocking with a shot on the left and almost missed the ball completely. Another big opportunity. Goes begging for United, but they could absolutely hold their heads high in this second half. They've had all the opportunities, and they just really haven't been able to finish it off. And now Campos will punish, will she? No. Big save made by Wilson. Chance. And block made by Hocking. Stays in play. Campos there, cleared by Nara. Here's Tina Campos. Corley with a shot and nowhere near it, but worth a shot. And goalkeeper Rachel Wilson will bring it back into play now. McGlynn under a bit of pressure. That'll go into touch. Here's McGlynn. Wilson will go long. Hocking there, and that will go into touch. Nice defensive work there by Burdett. In fact, that was Elias. Hocking receives from McGlynn, tries to take on Corley, but can't get around her, and it'll be a Wolves possession. So far this season for the Cockburn Wolves, some of the prominent players have been Alyssa Van Hoek, who has scored 12 goals and had 10 assists from her only 7 appearances. So huge effort, and she's been good tonight so far as well. Tina Campos is leading all goal scorers for the Wolves with 14 goals, has also had 7 assists. So she's been massive, as she always is for the Wolves. Here is Hocking. Under pressure from Campos. Burdett there as well now. Keeps it in. Finds Campos. Now Corley. The Wolves look to find a hole in this defence, which has been so strong in this first half. In fact, this second half. Not conceding a goal. 5-0 was the deficit at the half. And it still is 10 minutes later. For Perth United, it's been Emma Elias who has led their goal scoring this season with 6. She's had 6 goals and 4 assists. She's also played quite a role here tonight. And with 10 minutes remaining in this game of futsal, whilst the result almost seems like it's all over, it has been a very fascinating watch to see Perth United, really I'd even say controlling most of this second half, had the majority of the opportunities, had some really good bits of play, and even haven't conceded a goal. So if you're going to take positives out of the loss, they are some of the positives that United can take. And as I mentioned earlier, it was that first few minutes of the first half where they did come out strong, and then a bit of discussion did revolve around that in the halftime huddle about how the fact that they did have the Wolves under a bit of pressure in that first few minutes, and as you've seen, they've come out in this first 10 minutes of the second half with all sorts of pressure put on the Wolves, and they've got a bit of momentum now. Obviously they haven't scored, but the Wolves will look to arrest this momentum, and from their perspective, it's now a matter of just finding a way to play some good futsal despite the result probably being all over, and trying to put a few more goals past Wilson, extend the lead, blow out the goal difference just that bit more, but more importantly, just get some good futsal and start getting ready for finals, which you would highly, highly expect that they will be a part of. Here is Campos. She'll go to Tabane, back to Campos. Through Burdett, leaves it for Tabane, loses it though. Hocking, 1-1 with the goals. Can she put it away? No. Big save made, and it'll be last off of the knee of Claudia Hocking. But as I mentioned, they're causing all sorts of problems in the second half for the Wolves defence. It's just been the inability to finish, which has really got them. Here's Campos, can't get that through. Elias, she led the goal scoring this season for the United. This time she tried to find the assist, couldn't get it through. Now on the counter, Tabane. Campos can't find Tabane again. She'll reset. It'll be Burdett. Burdett through, big opportunity, and Hocking hammers that away. And with the result likely gone, both teams have not put the cue in the rack. They're still giving it their all. This will be brought in from the sideline by Brady. Chance for Campos, deflection. And it looks like it might have caught the mouth of, I believe, Claudia Hocking. Maybe in the nose. There was a lot of power on that ball from Tina Campos. Might have just caught the mouth there, I think, of Claudia Hocking. Hopefully all is okay. Just had a small halt in play. We'll be underway in just a moment. There's 9 minutes remaining in this second half of futsal. May have in fact been a tooth lost. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe might have just been a hard hit to the mouth as ice will be applied. But it was quite a heavy shot to cop off the boot of Campos. It won't be long before we get underway, and it looks like it might have been a tooth. Potentially came out. Claudia Hocking. Hopefully all is okay. She seems in good spirit, seems to be taking it. She seems to be taking it on the chin, quite literally. To be brought back into play now by the Wolves. And that one goes and sails straight over the goals. And obviously when you do cop a big hit to the mouth, especially when it's from such close range, it obviously does put your teeth at a bit of risk. And she'd been so good Hocking throughout this game. She'd been creating all sorts of opportunities. So obviously a big loss for the remainder of the game for United, but most importantly, hopefully all is okay. As now Jimenez will cut it through the middle, try to find Nara, can't get it through to her. Nara though, that's going to be out of her reach.
Fall back, sit up!
And it'll go into touch.
Hey, sit up!
And now the Wolves look to build again. That's a turnover though. Nara has an option to her left. Here's a big chance. Just put the shot away, you'd think, but she can't. Chance for Malero on the follow-up. Not able to finish, and they probably took a bit too long. Probably took a bit too long there to get the shot off. Here's a chance though, and almost beating the keeper. United deserve a goal. They've had all the play, or a lot of the play at least, in this second half here at Supa-Liga. But no reward so far. Here's Campos. Campos gets it through. Malero, though, manages to stop that in the end from getting all the way through, and that's nice defence there by Malero. And that ball is going to go out. Here is Malero. She will go back. They'll look to build again, United. Will a foul be called? No. On Malero, it looks like it will be. Foul called, it'll be a free kick. It'll be a United possession. Here's Nara. Jimenez turns it over to Bain. Shot wide left. Here's Wilson. Nara gives it off, and it's going to end up being lost to Bain. Burdett to Bain. Back to Burdett. And Bain and Burdett have combined about 3 or 4 times here. Now they'll use Brady, who can't squeeze it through the middle, turns it over. Now on the counter go United, and cleared by Brady. So to be taken here by Malero. Malero to Jimenez.
Hey, open up.
Jimenez, good long ball. Nara now just has Burdett to beat. Takes her time, now resets. Gets it to Jimenez. Jimenez through, chance. And not finished. In the end, cleared by Brady. Here's Tabane. He might have to reset. She'll go back. Finding, in fact, it was Van Hoek. Now Tabane. Now chance Brady. Tabane, Van Hoek. Their formation is quite strong at the moment defensively. United, it has been for this whole half of futsal. They've really stemmed the tide. But now the turnover from the Wolves gives another opportunity for United. This time, can they make the most of it? Here's the counter. The Elias can't get it through. Nicely done there in defence by Brady. That ball looks like it may have been moving and it will be a Wolves ball. Will be taken by McAuliffe. Tabane, Van Hoek. You heard there from China Campos just saying to her coach that the communication is not good enough at the moment from the Wolves, and that was a talking point at the halftime break for United, the communication aspects, and they've really lifted in this second half, and that's kept them from conceding and almost won them a few goals. And there's a turnover. Here's Elias. Elias with a shot, and almost that would have found the back of the net. But in the end, Caceres just got enough on it to thwart that away from goals. And I don't know if it's a bit of complacency from the Wolves, knowing the game's pretty much gone, or if it's just a combination of that as well as the fact that United have really lifted, which they absolutely have. And with 5 minutes and just over remaining, who will break the deadlock in this second half? That one doesn't stay in. And it's a United ball. Here's McGlynn. Might have lost it here. She did, but wasn't able to be kept in and taken down the line by McAuliffe. Elias down the line, out of the reach of everyone. There's a substitution made for the Wolves. On comes Corley, who has been quite good here tonight. Campos. Back to McAuliffe. Corley to McAuliffe again. And that's going to go out into touch. It'll be McAuliffe's ball. She'll go to Campos. Now Burdette's. In fact, to Corley. Moving the ball with no real intent, and it's been a lot of the case for this second half. They haven't had a whole lot of opportunities, have the Wolves. It's been a great effort from United. Obviously, they have been a class above across the whole game, have Cockburn Wolves. The first half was really where the game was on the line, and United weren't able to contain them, and that one's cleared. Obviously, it's all well and good having a strong second half, and that is the positive they'll take out of this game, being a young team. But that first half is where they'll look to improve going into next week. Just a reminder, the next game we have and the final game of the evening will be a matchup between Phoenix Futsal and South Perth Alliance in a pretty exciting and fascinating matchup with where both teams are on the ladder. So don't go anywhere after this match has finished in 3 minutes. That ball goes long down the line and doesn't stay in. It'll be brought back in by Corley, and the air has seemingly gone out of this game. And you can see there's no real intent. It's pretty much a game now of possession from the Wolves, and quick counter-attack play from Perth United. Here's Campos. That one doesn't stay in. McAuliffe apologises. Timeout called by Perth United. We will be back with you in just a few moments.
Thank you.
And we're back underway for the final 3 minutes of play here at Perth Mod. Subiaco, 5-0 is the lead. No goals scored in the second half though, which is a positive for United. Here is Caceres. This ball will get through to Van Hoyt, tries to turn McGlynn, can't do it. Corley to Van Voot. Now back to Corley. Here is Corley. Almost kind of leaves it there for McAuliffe. Van Hoyt now. And just a real lack of intent. Most of the second half, or maybe it's either a combination of that, a bit of fatigue, or knowing the game is gone from the Cockburn Wolves. But all credit does go to United. They've been really strong in the second half. That ball will go out into touch, will it? Will the foul be called? I think it will. Looks like a foul will be called against the Wolves, and it'll be McGlynn to take. The advantage wasn't called in the end. 2 minutes for one team to break this second half deadlock. McGlynn can't get it through. Nicely done by Caceres. Corley. McAuliffe. Van Voot to Van Hoyt, keeps it in. Now Corley calls for the run. In the end, doesn't go to McAuliffe, who will end up with it on that great ball through from Van Hoyt. McAuliffe ends up with it though again. Now Van Voot, nice defensive work there by McGlynn. 100 seconds left in this game. Before a big game coming up between South Perth and Phoenix Futsal, who look like South Perth will be having the return of Daniel Mazzarelli here tonight, who personally I've not seen play in a long time. So that will be an exciting watch and a massive, massive in for South Perth as they look to build in the remainder of this season. This ball we brought back into play by the Wolves. And cleared in the end. Long ball. Can it find Van Hoyt? Not quite. Here's a chance. Here goes Marlim. Does well to beat McAuliffe. Gets it through. Can they find a way to finish it? And no, looks like it just couldn't get the accuracy on it. And just under a minute remaining. in this game. It has been too good, too strong from the Cockburn Wolves. Whilst they have been challenged in the second half, they will be taking away a comfortable victory, and United will look to build on this second half performance going into next round. Here's a long ball and not quite kept in. Brady, Van Vugt. Long ball, does that stay in? It does. And Van Hoyk in the end can't beat McGlynn, but it will be her possession. Here's Van Vugt. Will that be off of her? Will it be a Wolves ball? Looks like it's going to be Rachel Wilson in goals taking it. Here is Van Vugt. Gets the interception. 20 seconds to go. Can one team score? Brady! Saved by Wilson. Big save. Van Vugt. Chance again, and almost the back post there from Brady as the rolling foul is called with 11 seconds remaining in this game. "5-0 looks to be the final scoreline here unless something happens in this next 7 seconds. Marlim, back to McGlynn. McGlynn will go long, and that will do us. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. 5-0 the victory to the Cockburn Wolves, but both teams will look to build on the positives coming out of this game. Thank you for watching, and don't go anywhere. We've got a big game coming up between Phoenix Futsal and South Perth Alliance.